What's up? What's up? How are you? Somebody really? How we doing, guys? Let's go ahead and get a snake opened up here. We'll give people a little time to get in, and then we're going to have us a discussion tonight about venom and anti-venom and all that kind of thing. There we go. You're doing 8 out of 10. Well, that's better than 5 out of 10, so that's good. What's up, Russ the Hunter? What's up, Remnant? How are you? How are you? Let me zoom out so you can see him. What's up, Roxanne? How are you? What's up, Sue? Tom? We'll get in and get a closer look here in a few. We're just giving people a few minutes to get in and, let him move around in here a little, catch people's attention. Ugh. Ugh. I appreciate all of you stopping in. If y'all will, while you're here, smash that like button, please. The more likes we get in the very beginning, the more people it brings to the stream. The more people it brings into our future streams. It helps us out a bunch. I'll show you guys here. Let me pull something up here quick to show you. Sorry about all the cussing. I try to keep that down nowadays, Sorry about the dogs barking. Let's see here. But anyway, guys, come on, smash that like button for me, guys. Really need your help doing that. Check it out, guys. I want to show you something here. Just so you guys see I'm telling the truth. Like, literally in the last 28 days, I've made $61.42 on this channel. So it's not about money on this channel, guys. It's about, education, the information about these snakes, trying to, teach people that these snakes are not evil. These snakes aren't villains. They don't want to hurt you. These snakes would much rather avoid you. But today, what's up, Miley? How are you? How are you? Guys, thanks for stopping in. What's up, Shane? Yeah, they can eat mice. Now, this snake ain't as small as he looks. I have him in a very big round container. This container's 36 inches wide, and this snake is every bit as wide as it. So this snake's about 3 feet long. So he's a rather long snake. Hey guys, if there's anybody that hasn't hit the like button yet, please smash that like button for us. We've got 114 people watching and only 9 likes in here. Yes, this is a monocled cobra. This is a T-negative albino monocled cobra. But tonight we're going to talk about something that most people fear. Something that has terrified humans for thousands of years. And that's snake venom. Whenever we hear the word venom, we think of danger, we think of things like paralysis, we even think of death, But we think of emergency rooms and warning signs. But guys, what if I told you that inside those same deadly drops of venom are also life-saving medicines? That venom, it's one of nature's most feared substances. It's helped create treatments for heart disease, blood disorders, chronic pain, and even surgical diagnostics. And that, without snake venom research, modern medicine would look very, very different today. So tonight we're going to explore what venom actually is, how scientists turn toxins into medications, and real drugs that came directly from snake venom, and how anti-venom is made, and why venom research may shape the future of medicine. This is not mythology, this is biochemistry and pharmacology, and this is even evolutionary precision engineering. And by the end of this live stream, I hope you'll never think about venom the same way again. If anybody's here that hasn't hit that like button, guys, please smash that like button. But anyway, guys, so some of you know how I do things here. Some of you have been here in the past. Some of you have not. So the way I do things is I start with a short prayer, and then we go on to talk about the snakes or the subject of the day. So if you guys don't mind, give me just 1 minute of silence in the chat while we say a quick prayer, and then we will move on to discussing our topic for the day. Heavenly Father, we thank you for the gift of knowledge, for the curiosity that drives discovery, and for the wisdom to use science for healing. And as we explore the wonders of creation tonight, even in places that seem dangerous and frightening, just help us to see the beauty in design, the purpose and complexity, and the hope and transformation. Guide our minds as we learn, and guide our hearts as we reflect, and remind us that even what appears harmful can in the right hands become a source of healing in life. And may this time be informative, inspiring, and uplifting. And as always, please keep the pointy end of these animals as far from my body as possible while we talk about these animals, learn about these animals, and educate about these animals. Amen. So anyway, guys, all right, little dude, you ready? You ready for this, little dude? So anyway, guys, let's start with the basics. Venom is not poison in the traditional sense. Venom is a biological delivery system. It's produced in specialized glands on the snake and injected through fangs. Unlike poison, which is harmful if swallowed or touched, venom must enter the bloodstream or tissue. And here's what makes venom extraordinary. It isn't just one toxin. It's a complex cocktail. A single species can produce dozens to hundreds of distinct molecules. Enzymes, neurotoxins, hemotoxins, cytotoxins, myotoxins, peptides, proteins. Each of these molecules has a specific target in the body. And some target nerve receptors, some disrupt blood clotting, some break down tissue, and some affect blood pressure. And here's the key point. Venom evolved to be precise. A snake doesn't want to waste energy. It needs to immobilize prey quickly and efficiently. So evolution shaped venom molecules to bind with incredible specificity to biological systems. And that precision, that molecular accuracy is exactly what medicine needs. And I will try to give you a little bit closer look here at the head of this snake. Again, guys, I am zoomed out pretty far tonight to give you a full picture. But if you see just right there on the head, just above the orange, and he's not cooperating. Come on, Bubba. Here, let me get a better grip. Here. Here, Bubba. Here. Hang on. Alright, Bubba. Hey, come on. Come on, boy. Hey. Come here. Alright, so here we go. Let's see if I can get him in a little bit better. He's a bad choice to try to show this stuff, so I'll show it on a rattlesnake again here in a little bit. But, you know, the lighter yellow parts just above the orange when you're going towards the head out to the sides, that's where the venom glands are on these guys. I can try to point with the hook, but like right here in the sides of his head towards the back of his head is where you find the venom glands. If there's anyone here that hasn't hit that like button, please smash that like button for us. Your likes really help us out tremendously. They help get this out to more people. It helps bring people into future streams. It helps us, you know, help people overcome the fear of these animals, you know, and understand that we can coexist with these animals peacefully with just a little bit of, you know, smarts and a little bit of humility. But anyway, guys, venom is the product of millions of years of evolutionary refinement. If you think about that, long before humans had laboratories, long before we had microscopes, and long before we even understood proteins, nature was already designing targeted biochemical tools. Every time a snake species evolved, its venom adapted. It adapted to its prey, its environment, even its hunting strategy. Some venoms paralyze nerves instantly, some cause internal bleeding, some stop the heart, and some prevent blood from clotting. And these molecules are incredibly selective. They can distinguish between, you know, different types of nerve receptors, specific clotting factors, and even precise cellular channels. The level of specificity is the dream of pharmacologists. Because in medicine, the ideal drug targets exactly what you want, and it leaves everything else alone. It acts predictably, and it works efficiently. Venom already does this. So, let's talk about one of the most important medical breakthroughs from snake venom. It was back in the 1960s when researchers were studying the venom of the Bothrops jiraca, which is the Brazilian pit viper. They discovered that certain venom peptides interfered with the body's ability to regulate blood pressure. Specifically, the venom blocked an enzyme involved in producing a molecule that raises blood pressure. Scientists isolated those peptides, they studied how they worked, and they modified them to be safe and stable. And as a result, you ended up with captopril. It's the very first ACE inhibitor ever created. Today, ACE inhibitors are used worldwide to treat things like high blood pressure, heart failure, and kidney disease. So millions of lives have been extended because of the discovery from snake venom. Let that sink in. For all of those who, you know, say they hate snakes or they're afraid of snakes and, you know, only good snake's a dead snake and all that kind of stuff, let that sink in what I just said. You know, a snake bite mechanism became a cardiovascular medication. Now, that's not all. Let's move to clotting. Your blood clotting system is incredibly complex. If there's too much clotting, you risk a stroke or a heart attack. Too little clotting, you risk uncontrolled bleeding. Snake venoms manipulate this system masterfully. The eastern brown snake produces venom that activates clotting factors rapidly. Other snakes produce anticoagulants that prevent clot formation. So scientists have used venom components to develop diagnostic tests for clotting disorders, study coagulation pathways, design anti-clot medications such as heparin. Some venom-derived compounds are used in hospital labs every single day to measure clot function. There we go. Now he has calmed down a little bit. He got out of his flight mode. But, you know, again, a deadly weapon becomes a diagnostic tool. And not only clotting and hemotoxins, we got to talk about neurotoxins and pain research. So cobras, like what you're looking at here, including this very cobra, the monocled cobra, produce neurotoxins. They bind to receptors at neuromuscular junctions, and they block communication between nerves and muscles. That's how paralysis happens. But in a lab, this becomes invaluable. By studying these toxins, we have learned that we've learned how nerve signals are transmitted, how receptors function, and how synapses operate. Venom research has helped guide anesthesia development, muscle relaxant drugs, pain pathway research, and some venom peptides are currently being studied as non-opioid painkillers. That's huge. Myself, myself at one time, as many of you know already, was addicted to opioid pain medication. And that's what got me into taking care of venomous snakes and into this hobby, was for me to fight that addiction. Yes, I have an addiction with snakes now, but I no longer have an opioid addiction, and I've been free of that addiction since 2010. And, you know, opioid addiction is a global crisis, whether some of us want to admit that or acknowledge that or not. It is. So venom-derived pain therapies may provide targeted relief without the same addiction risk. Very important, guys. Very important. So, how does venom become medication? Let's break down the actual process. Step one, you have guys, like I'm working towards. I don't quite do it yet, but I am working towards it, doing venom collection. You extract venom safely from the snakes in controlled, environments. And then there's a biochemical analysis. The venom is separated into individual components using, chromatography and mass spectrometry. Then you got molecular identification. That's where scientists determine the structure and the function of each molecule. And then you got the modification. The molecule is often modified to increase stability, reduce toxicity, improve delivery. So then you go into step 5, clinical trials. And that's where the compound undergoes things like lab testing, animal studies, human trials. And only after years of research does a venom-derived drug reach patients. And this process can take decades, but when successful, it changes medicine and saves lives, lots of lives. So now that we have talked about the venom a little bit, and the benefits of the venom, and how it works, and the different types of venom, let's talk about how anti-venom is made. Anti-venom production is both elegant and complex. Here's how it works. First, venom is collected from a specific snake species. Then, very small, diluted amounts are injected into a large animal, typically a horse or a sheep. The animal's immune system recognizes the venom proteins as foreign. It begins producing antibodies. Over time, as immunity builds, blood is collected. The plasma, rich in antibodies, is separated and purified. Those antibodies are processed into anti-venom. When they're injected into a snakebite victim, the antibodies bind to the venom toxins. They neutralize them. They prevent further damage. The body can then recover. Modern purification techniques reduce allergic reactions and increase safety. However, anti-venom is species specific. Anti-venom for one snake may not work for another. And that's one reason snakebite treatment remains a global health challenge. And now that we know that it remains a global health challenge, let's talk about the global health impact of this. Snakebite envenomating, affected humans of thousands of people, annually. It's considered a neglected tropical disease in many rural areas. Anti-venom is expensive, supply is very limited, and access to hospitals is delayed. Venom research isn't just about medicine development. It's also about improving anti-venom production, creating broader spectrum anti-venoms. developing synthetic antibody technologies. And biotechnology may soon allow lab-engineered antivenoms without relying on horses. That could revolutionize treatment worldwide. And some of you may have seen already, but there is actually a man out there, his name is Tim Fried, that actually started self-immunizing with snakes, the eastern diamondback, the taipans, black mambas, etc., for many years for science. He did exactly as I just explained. He would start out with example 1 drop of, let's say monocle cobra or black mamba venom to 10,000 drops of water. He would inject a small amount of that, and then he would slowly back the water off until he was taking full-on black mamba bites without the need of going to the hospital. So his blood right now is actually being studied and researched, to produce a universal anti-venom. Because, like I say, one of the struggles today is one anti-venom doesn't cover every snake worldwide. Right now in the United States, for our United States pit vipers, we have one that's called Crofab that does work for all of the pit vipers in the United States. But we also do have one elapid that lives in the United States that, I don't know exactly specific anti-venom they use for that. Probably a polyvalent. And that is the eastern coral snake. So far, guys, here, let me change the snake here real quick. Let me put this guy away, and I'm going to pull out another one. Come here, Bubba. Come on, on the hook. Come on the hook. On the hook, Bubba. Come on, Bubba. Hey. What's up, pretty girl? Big scary cobra. Big scary cobra. Ooh. Ooh, big scary cobra. Hey guys, if there's anybody here that hasn't hit that like button yet, please smash that like button for us. It really helps us out. Without your likes, these streams just stall out and they go nowhere. If y'all hit the like button, it helps bring more people in. We're able to teach more people about the conservation importance and the education on these animals. Help people learn that these animals don't want to chase you down. They're not villains. They don't want to hurt you. And there's a lot to learn with these guys. And by y'all simply hitting that like button, it does way more than you can possibly even realize that it does. So guys, what have we learned tonight so far? We've learned that venom is not simply a weapon. It's a toolkit. It's a molecular library. It is a record of evolutionary innovation. From the Bothrops jerica, helping create blood pressure medication, to the cobra neurotoxin advancing neuroscience, and to anti-venom saving lives in emergency rooms. Snake venom represents one of the most powerful examples of turning fear into knowledge, and knowledge into healing. So I'm hoping that the next time that you hear the word venom, don't just think of danger. Think of discovery, think of science, think of medicine, because sometimes the most powerful cures come from the most unexpected places. Give me just a second, guys. So, guys, now with what we've talked about so far, I want to shift gears just a little bit. We've talked about controlled laboratories. We've talked about pharmacological, research. We've talked about, carefully regulated anti-venom production. You know, but and we touched on this just a little bit, but what happens when one individual decides to experiment on himself? And again, this man that I'm going to talk about here, his name is Tim Fried. Some people pronounce it Tim Fried, but his story is really the most unusual, in my opinion, and it's the most controversial. Chapters in Venom research, because Tim Fried is not a university scientist. He's not a pharmacological, executive. He's not a lab researcher, with a formal medical degree. He's a snake enthusiast like myself. And over the course of, nearly 20 years, maybe even a little longer, he did something that most doctors would strongly advise against. And he deliberately injected himself with small doses of snake venom again and again from multiple species. And again, his goal was to build immunity. And before we go any further, let's be very clear. This is extremely dangerous. It's not recommended. And it's not medically approved. It can be fatal. But Tim Fried believed that by gradually exposing his body to venom in controlled, increasing doses, his immune system would produce antibodies similar to how anti-venom, animals are immunized, like the horses and the sheep. So over time, he survived bites and injections from the world's most venomous snakes. I personally watched him with a black mamba bite him, 3 times in a row. I watched a PNG taipan, that's a Papua New Guinea taipan, bite him, and he survived it. So eventually, well, I must say this too first. He has documented this journey, so anybody that wants to see it, you can find it available online. He shared videos, he described the building the tolerance and the sacrifices that he gave to do this research. It costed him his family. It costed him his wife, his life. It costed him his life, not as far as, dying, but it costed him his life as far as what he loved. But anyway, eventually researchers took notice of this, because if his blood contained broad spectrum antibodies, it could potentially contribute to anti-venom research. And now this is where science meets controversy. Let's pause and talk about immunity for a second. When venom enters the bloodstream, the immune system recognizes venom proteins as foreign invaders. So the body produces antibodies, and that's a specialized protein that's designed to bind to those toxins. And this is the same principle used in vaccinations, again, anti-venom production and immunotherapy. In traditional anti-venom production, horses are gradually exposed to venom so their immune systems produce the antibodies. But Fried essentially attempted to replicate that process in himself. And over time, tests, showed that he developed antibodies to multiple venoms. And that caught the attention of some researchers studying the next generation antivenoms. Now, we need to approach this responsibly. Self-experimentation has a long history in science, but it is ethically complicated. It does carry enormous risk. Venom can cause kidney failure, stroke, respiratory paralysis, tissue necrosis, and even death. And repeated venom exposure can also trigger severe allergic reactions, anaphylaxis, immune system complications. So even trained anti-venom producers use, controlled dosing, medical supervision, and emergency backup systems. What Fried did was outside formal clinical structures, and while his survival is remarkable, it does not mean that it's a safe process. In fact, it highlights just how dangerous venom truly can be. Now, despite the controversy, his case sparked discussions about broader spectrum anti-venom, and one of the biggest challenges in snakebite treatment is specificity. Anti-venom made for one species may not work for another. So researchers, let me try to get her on camera here. Researchers are exploring, synthetic monoclonal antibodies, different DNA technologies, lab engineered immunotherapies. And if a person's immune system can produce antibodies to multiple venom types, it raises important research questions. Can we design a universal anti-venom? Can we engineer antibodies without using horses? And can biotechnology reduce costs and increase accessibility? Freed's case didn't replace traditional research, but it reminded the scientific community that the immune system is adaptable and sometimes surprisingly resilient. So, if there's anybody here that hasn't hit that like button, guys, please smash that like button for us. We really need you to hit that like. It helps get this out to a lot more people. It helps bring people to our future streams. It really helps us with conservation, being able to reach more people, help educate more people, helps us learn more things here at the Virtual Reptarium. It doesn't cost you anything, again, we're a monetized channel, but I just showed earlier we've made like $67 in the last 28 days. So this channel ain't about money. It's about education. And with y'all's help, hitting that like button and dropping us a comment, you can really help us reach more people and help us achieve our goals. And help, possibly save lives by simply clicking a like button. So what can we take away from this, guys? I say the first thing is to respect venom. The second is to respect science. And the third thing is to never confuse survivorship with safety. The reason that venom-derived medications work is because of structured research, clinical trials, peer review, and ethical oversight. Medicine advances through discipline, not daredevil experiments, but stories like Tim Freed's capture the imagination, and they contribute tremendously to the research. They highlight humanity's deep fascination with venom, and they remind us that the boundary between danger and medicine is often thin, and they emphasize something powerful. The human immune system is capable of extraordinary adaptation. So, as we close, this discussion, think about the arc of tonight's message. We began with fear, we moved into discovery, we explored how venom became medicine, we examined how anti-venom is produced, and now we've seen how one individual pushed the limits of immunoadaptation. Snake venom represents paradox. It can destroy tissue, it can stop the heart, it can paralyze the muscles, and yet it can regulate blood pressure. It can guide surgical diagnostics. It can inspire, new pain treatments. It can save snakebite victims. So the very same molecules, different context, different purpose. And that is the essence of science and transformation. And guys, I wanted to say thanks for everybody stopping in. We're not done yet, but, we've covered a lot tonight. Venom evolution, venom-derived medicines, anti-venom production, and even the unusual case of Tim Freed. So now, let's move into some questions. I'm going to answer some of the most common questions that people ask about snake venom and anti-venom. So, question number one that I get in the comments frequently is if venom is so dangerous, how can it possibly be safe as medicine? And that's a great question. The key difference is dose and modification. Venom in its natural form is designed to overwhelm the body quickly, but whenever scientists isolate a single molecule from the venom, they purify it, they study its structure, they modify it, and adjust the dose precisely. In medicine, we don't inject raw venom. We use highly refined, targeted compounds derived from the venom. It's the same reason, botulism toxin or Botox, deadly in high amounts, can be used safely in tiny controlled doses in medicine. Toxicity is about context, concentration, and control. And another question I get frequently is, can somebody build immunity to snake venom? And the short answer is, under controlled conditions, yes. The long answer is it's extremely risky and unpredictable. The immune system can produce antibodies to venom proteins, and that's how anti-venom works. However, immunity may not be complete. It may not work for all species. It can trigger severe allergic reactions. It can, fail under high dose envenomation. And like the case of Tim Fried shows that antibody development is possible, but it is not a recommended or medically supervised approach for the general public. And question number 3 is why isn't there one universal anti-venom? And that's an excellent question that I get asked as well. Snake venom varies dramatically between species. Even closely related snakes can have different venom compositions. For example, the timber rattlesnake. In the Northeast, it is primarily hemotoxic. The further south you go, the more you start to see neurotoxins and myotoxins included in the venom composition. Thank you for the donation. Whoever gave the donation, thank you. I just saw that. I'm sorry I didn't notice sooner, but thank you very much. And also another example is the one I talked about earlier, the Bothrops jerica. It differs, significantly from that of the monocled cobra. One primarily affecting blood clotting because it's hemotoxic, and the other primarily affects nerve transmission, which is neurotoxic. Because the toxins are different, the antibodies needed are different. However, researchers are working on broad spectrum antivenoms, the synthetic toxin binding molecules, and a universal anti-venom may be possible in the future, but it requires enormous biochemical precision. And question 4, guys, I did write these down before we started and my answers, so I wasn't on the spot with them. But how do they milk snakes safely? Venom extraction is performed by, professionals. The snake is generally encouraged to bite a sterile collection container, covered with a membrane. The membrane is usually just some sort of plastic. The venom glands, contract and the venom is released. Then the venom is freeze-dried or refrigerated. It's labeled by species and it's stored for research or anti-venom production. Safety protocols are very strict, and medical backup is always present. It is not something untrained individuals should attempt. Question 5 is snake venom research still ongoing? Absolutely, every day. Venom research is expanding rapidly. Scientists are exploring venom peptides for cancer research, autoimmune disorders, chronic pain, stroke prevention, blood clot regulation. Modern tools like CRISPR and monoclonal antibody engineering are accelerating the research. Venom is essentially a molecular library that we have only begun to understand. Now, this is one that I get all the time. How many people die from snake bites each year? Snake bite envenomating is considered a neglected tropical health issue. Hundreds of thousands are envenomated annually worldwide. Tens of thousands of deaths occur each year, primarily in rural regions with limited access to anti-venom. And this is why improving distribution and cost and stability and shelf life and the broad spectrum protection is so critical. Venom medicine is just fascinating science. It's a global health necessity. And, could venom ever replace traditional drugs? No, it's not going to ever replace them, but it could complement them. Venom derived drugs are typically used whenever highly specific targeting is required. Unique biochemical pathways are involved, or traditional synthetic drugs are less effective. And I want to kind of give you guys my exact thought process behind this question. And my thought process behind this question is that, the highly specific targeting, is something that we don't see with standard medications. You go to the hospital or to the doctors, because, I don't know, because you got hemorrhoids. Let's make it a little funny. You got hemorrhoids and your butt hurts. So they give you some kind of medication to take, to dull the pain in your butt crack. Now all of a sudden you got a damn earache. So now you got to take another medication because your ear hurts. So they're not, they are not like so specifically targeted with a lot of these other medications. So I believe that one day these medications can be used, again, to specifically target an issue without all those crazy nonsense side effects where you've got to take another drug to counteract that drug, or the side effects of that drug. So anyway, that's just my 2 cents, and that's my opinions. That's not scientific, obviously, and that's why I tried to use the crazy examples I did, so nobody takes it as scientific. But, venom molecules, offer templates. I guess I got to say this first, venom molecules offer templates, and scientists modify them to create stable and safe medications. So venom inspires drugs. It doesn't usually become the final product unchanged. And what's the most fascinating thing about venom research? And this is another one of my direct answers. And for me, it's this. Venom evolved for survival, not for healing. And yet, whenever it's studied correctly, it becomes a tool for healing. And that transformation, from weapon to remedy is one of the most powerful examples of scientific redemption in nature, in my opinion. And it shows that danger and healing can exist in the same molecule. And if you're watching live right now, I'd love to ask you something. Before tonight, did you think of venom as purely dangerous? Or did you know it was used for medicine? Drop it in the chat for me, because education changes perspective. What's up, Ralph? You knew it was used for medications. That's good. I'm glad a lot of you guys do know some of this stuff. Awesome, awesome. Oh, okay. It looks like that. I don't know if you say it that bites or that bits. You're the one that donated. Thank you very much for that. Thank you. Feed him. She just ate the other day, so I don't know that I'm gonna feed her now. I reckon I could, but I don't know. It ain't quite time for her to eat yet. We're gonna actually pull out, since we've done all this talking about different venoms and stuff. Again, we're gonna pull out the rattlesnake. You read a lot about snakes too. That's awesome. But I'm a girl. I bet we know the same people. I bet you we might. Let me look here. Let me look. Is that you in the profile picture? This is a monocled cobra. This is known as a blizzard monocled cobra. It is actually a cross between albino and leucistic. Okay, let's see here. Yes, but I don't work in the industry. I just live and had roommates in it, kind of surrounded by venom people. Ah, I got you. Got you. Well, I'm glad that you like the hobby, the industry, whatever you'd like to call it. You know, because it's very important. It's important in many different ways too. You know, not just you know the medication aspect of it and stuff, but it's important. You know, the conservation aspect. As I explain every single night, you know, without these animals, you know. Our ecosystems would just become unbalanced, you know, and just go off the rails. So it's important in more ways than one. If anybody has any questions, feel free to ask questions. I will answer any questions I can, the best I can. Yes, psychos shouldn't have animals, in your opinion. Yeah, you're probably right. Psychos probably shouldn't. But, you know, people that do it responsibly, you know, should. Hey, what's up, Jay? There we go. Let's try to get you up here for let's try to bring you up here for a look. Huh? What do you think, girl? Oh, so scary. Such a big, scary girl. Ooh. She's so white that the camera's having a hard time with the saturation. Hey, pretty girl. Hey. Hey, pretty girl. Hey. Hey, pretty girl. Nah, that's all right, buddy. I'm not going to give it a kiss. No, I don't do stupid shit with my animals. Come on, girl. Thank you. Yeah, I have a smaller leucistic that's a little easier to get on camera good. I was hoping that y'all could see her eyes, but the bright white really throws it off. But her eyes are very, very bright red. Let's stick her. Hey, girl. Hey, girl. Hey, girl. Hey. Come here. Here, look, let's see your eyes. Let's see your eyes. Come here. Look, come here. Let's see your eyes. There you go. Now, yeah, her eyes, I can't see them that good in here, but, all right, let me pull out another snake here. Again, guys, some of you have seen the snakes that I'm showing tonight. Some have not. We will be showing some new ones. I'm going to start, every week, I'm going to start showing a couple of new snakes a week, as well as show some of the old ones, too. But I'm going to start doing new snakes, you know, maybe two new snakes a week, introduce y'all to them. And then we will, like I say, still look at some of the older stuff, you know, as well. Because a lot of them, they're all my favorites, you know. Like this one I'm about to pull out. A lot of you have saw this snake multiple times. But I love this snake. He's one of my favorites. They're all my favorites. Come here, Bubba. Come here, Bubba. Hey. Come here, Bubba. There we go. So, guys, if you notice, I use this round container. Now, it won't keep them in for forever. But this round container keeps them in there a little bit easier than it does with the square one. He didn't see. It's okay. I'm just wondering about snake eyesight and if it's different species to species or albino variants. Like, do they bite because they are scared? Jay, they will bite because they're scared, yes, or they feel cornered or threatened, absolutely. And about eyesight, I'm not sure what your question was, but I'm going to take a shot at what I think your question was. And about the eyesight of snakes, when it comes to albino snakes, what's up, Cayman? But when it comes to albinos, yes, that does impair their eyesight. It makes them more sensitive to light, and some of them are blind completely. Like the first monocle cobra we had on here, when we started tonight, that snake is blind. That snake can see maybe a shadow here and there, but that's about all he can see. Okay, my friend had a couple of large snakes and I was sleeping on the couch. I got woken up in the middle of the night from one. Then I slept out on the patio. They probably smell more than see with their tongues. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes, Jay. The albinos, like this guy here, he's albino, obviously, and he has great eyesight. Now, again, when the light's really bright on him, then yes, it does make a difference for him. You can tell that it makes a difference for him. And yes, these guys here are pit vipers, so they have that heat-sensing pit in the front of their nose there. I should have a smaller specimen to try to show you guys that kind of thing. But he's got heat-sensing pits that detect, infrared radiation. Take a shower together? Yeah, sometimes. But I'm going to actually grab a couple of smaller snakes here. I'm going to grab a smaller cobra and a smaller rattlesnake. That way I can get them a little closer to the camera here and show you. Thank you, Dave. This is a tangerine albino western diamondback rattlesnake. And guys, I realized some people had sent me some gifts on here. Thank you for the gifts. I really appreciate them. I wasn't ignoring you when you sent them. I just didn't notice it. If I put a cobra and a timber together, the cobra would probably eat the timber. But since you said timber, let me go get a timber because they're my favorite species. And they're just an all-round great animal. Great animal. I'm going to go grab a timber rattlesnake quick. You know, I was going to get out a real big timber rattlesnake. I was going to, but then I remembered that for some reason, folks really like baby snakes. I don't know what the difference is, but folks really seem to like baby snakes, so I have decided to bring out an itty-bitty baby timber rattlesnake. Huh. And this guy's in the middle of shedding. That's why he's got that skin like that. He was starting to shed. So actually, let me put him up and grab the other one here. Here, Bubba. Here. Let me go grab the other one because that one's in the middle of shedding. He ain't as pretty. Alright, there we go. Now, we got this little dude. Come here, little dude. Come here, little dude. Come here. Hey, we gotta get you guys some water. You're out of water. You're out of water, little guy. Alright. What's up, little dude? No, you don't. You're not going nowhere. Come here. Hey, come here. Hey, get your little butt back here. Hey. Come here. Hey, let me turn this damn tripod. There we go. Come on, Bubba. Hey. Where are you going to? Where are you going to? Come here. Hey, that's a long way down. You don't want to go there. Come here. 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 Let's do this. Come here. They don't stay quite as still as they used to stay. Here. Here. Let's sit down right here. Let's sit right here. Thank you, Chromo Chronicles. I appreciate that. Come here. Come here, little dude. Hey. Yeah, he's trying to buzz his little tiny rattle there. But guys, this is a timber rattlesnake, scientifically known as Crotalus horridus. It's not quite 6 months old. If y'all want, I suppose, well, nah, never mind. I was going to feed them, but we'll do that tomorrow night. We'll do some feedings of these babies tomorrow night. Where are you going, dude? Hey, hey. Why you keep running back there? Come here. Get your butt up here. Hey, come on. Get your butt up here. Hey. You're gonna get grounded. You're gonna go back in your cage. Come here. Where are you going? Come here, you little worm. Come on, you little worm. Guys, one day I will have a camera operator. As soon as I start making enough money to pay a camera operator here, I will have one and be able to keep clearer, steadier, better shots on these animals. But I try to do both. I'm the camera guy and the snake guy at the same time, and it's not real easy. No, sir. Stay. Hey. No. Come on. Calm down. Hey. 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 Now, that's it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stay. Stay. There is motion activated cameras nowadays, but it just ain't quite the same. I have them on my rattlesnake den, but it ain't the same as, you know, being able to, you know, take the shots that are necessary, you know, getting it to zoom when I want it to zoom, and, you know, different things like that. Yes, for the live streams, maybe I could do that, but, you know. No. Hey. No, little dude. Hey. Stop it. Come on, man. Come on, Bubba. But, anyway, this is the timber rattlesnake. Oh, yeah, that's why I brought this guy out, to talk about the heat sense and fits a little bit. So, if I could get him to... Hey, dude. Hey, dude. Hey, dude, you're going to cooperate for a minute. No, you're not, are you? He says, like hell I'm going to cooperate. I make the rules around here. Come on, dude. There you go. All right. Nope. He ain't going to listen for me. He ain't going to do it. Come on, you little jerk. Come on. Nope. All right. This little dude here, he's about to get put back in his cage. I'm going to grab another rattlesnake. Oh, shit. What the hell? So this one is Crotalus basiliscus. It is Mexican West Coast rattlesnake. Oh yeah, the blacktail rattlesnake are great. There is two different blacktails. There's Crotalus ornatus and Crotalus mollosus. You got the Texas blacktail, which is Crotalus ornatus, and you got the Arizona blacktail, which is Crotalus mollosus. The Crotalus ornatus actually looks like he has eyebrows. He's got a dark patch on his face. So is that the one you're speaking of, or are you speaking of the one without the dark patch on the face? Well, you said it now, Tom. Yeah, he don't want to show his pits either, but I'm going to get him to turn his freaking grumpy self around. Come on, little dude. Don't make me call ice on you. Come on, little dude. Here. Hey, dude. Hey, dude. Come on, dude. Okay. So now maybe we can see the pits. So, right at the end of my hook, right there, that little bitty hole there, that is actually the heat sensing pits on these snakes. And actually the, like night vision cameras and, night vision goggles, things like that we all know, and they were actually brought to us in part from the research done on pit vipers. Well, Sue, this one here, I guess it can be the hooker for the night. This is a different hooker, though. See, this one's a thicker hooker. But, and then this little dude got his little bitty teeny tiny rattle there. Yeah, I'll bet you it is a Texas blacktail. Yep. Sounds like it. If you look at the short videos on my channel, you will be able to find the Crotalus molossus and the Crotalus ornatus both. If you have time, take a look through my shorts and see which one it is and drop me a comment. It's not super important. It's just interesting to me, and I'm just curious. So if you have time, if not, I understand. Absolutely, Tom. You're right. Nothing wrong with a thick one. Yeah, he's, whenever you're looking at this snake, several of them actually in this sphagnum moss, they're just blend right on in. All right, you'll just ask your friend to tell you what the sign says tomorrow. I got you. Cool. Absolutely. Let's see here. Is this your first time watching? This one doesn't have a name. I haven't never named this one yet. This right here, that's the Texas blacktail rattlesnake right there. Yeah, Jay, very pretty snake. I love these snakes. Oh, okay, I got you. Well, I'm glad you stumbled across it, and we'd like to have you back again. We stream every night at 9:30 p.m. and we show different snakes frequently. like I just said to everybody, I'm going to start adding 2 new snakes per week into the rotation. So, yeah, 9:30 Eastern time. I'm not sure where you're at, but I'm in South Carolina. So, yeah, Eastern Standard. Yeah, I'm sorry that I didn't see the donation come up immediately when you sent it, but I really do appreciate that very much. She seems to have paused, huh? Okay, you're in Arizona. That's cool. I'm going to be coming to Arizona in about a month, actually. I'm going to come down and take some photos. I'm actually going to right around Yuma, Arizona. I'm going to be coming down there trying to, do some hiking and take some photos and stuff of some rattlesnakes. Awesome, awesome. I'm glad you understand it. I usually let people know that, but like I said, I didn't know what part you came in and stuff. And, whenever I have a snake out, I don't look at the chat, that often unless the snake is just laying there being chill. Paisley asked me all day if I have a wins, Mister. Coming on. Good. Well, I'm glad she got to watch again tonight, Ralph. I'm glad. I'm glad she enjoys it. All right. Hey, Paisley, come up with a name for this snake for us. Believe it or not, there's conflicting research about whether snakes can hear or not. But I will tell you, I believe that rattlesnakes at least can hear. That's right, Patrick. You know it. Going on a snake hunt. We're going on a snake hunt. I worked as a curator at the Desert Museum here for a while, and the town is 400 in population, and 392 of them are professional herpers. Hey, that's cool. Well, who knows? Maybe I'll get through that way and check out the museum you're talking about, Because when I come on the trip, I'm not like, I don't have a specific destination. I'm just going to drive and we're going to, me and the old lady and my friend, we're all going to take about, a 10-day to 2-week trip, and just run along. This one here, let me check real quick, Ralph. I don't know which one this is. Let me look at his tail quick. This one is a boy. It is a male. Yes, they definitely feel the vibration. Now, see, that's the thing. They do not have an outer ear, obviously, but they do have, I don't know the exact proper scientific name for it, but essentially they have an inner ear. So, they are getting the vibrations, and that's why I say I think they can hear, at least with rattlesnakes. It says Desert Museum. It's just a slight detour off of the 10 on your way to Yuma. Okay, cool. Actually, I just screenshotted that so I can remember that and check it out. It's owned by the Ashleys and the G's. Own the restaurant down the street. Okay, cool. Cool. Yeah, that's going to be awesome to come out there. I mean, I've been in Arizona before, but I've never actually went out herping in Arizona, so it's going to be pretty cool to do so. Lots of different species of snake out there in the desert. Okay, Ralph, no problem. Take your time, Paisley. You just let us know whenever you figure one out. But yeah, tomorrow night, guys, definitely join us tomorrow night because we will definitely be doing some other snakes tomorrow night. I finally got my female Eastern Diamondback to eat today. So that's awesome. She hasn't eaten for a couple of months. It was getting concerning, but she finally ate today. Now I just got to get the male to eat and I will be happy. Name him Colt, huh? Okay. Colt. Let's see here. C-O-L-T. There we go. Colt. The tiger passed away this morning. Yes, both tigers have passed away. The male came in, already deceased, and the female passed away this morning, unfortunately. It really sucks. Yes, the seller refunded my money. He refunded all my money. The only thing I lost was shipping cost. So I lost about $175 shipping cost on each one, but it is what it is. The seller's very respectable. The great guy. I have no complaints with him because there are a lot of shady, dirty people in this hobby. So, thankfully, I work with some pretty decent guys when it comes to purchasing animals. By the sounds of it, my other rattlesnake may be eating right now. Let me look at him. Nope. He's not eating. The chick's just sitting on him chirping. Yeah, tigers are very, very beautiful. I've wanted to get a pair of tiger rattlesnakes for a very long time. They are not produced in captivity. There is supposedly one person in the UK or in Europe or something, I don't know exactly where, but supposedly he produced them in captivity, but he has never shown any photos or video to prove it or anything. So I don't know that they've ever been produced in captivity. I don't believe in, wild caught. I can't say I'm completely against it, but I am 90% against it. I don't like somebody going out and catching wild animals to sell them for the pet trade. Now, I do believe it is necessary for the conservation aspects, like example, for somebody that's going to put the time in to try to captively produce tiger rattlesnakes. So I'll be honest with you, if I had tiger rattlesnakes in my area, I would probably go catch a male and female pair of them, and then work over the next couple of years to get them breeding. Yeah, man, I can't wait to go check that out. Patrick, the transport can be rough on them, but generally, no. I mean, not. I usually have a man. His name is Tim. He runs a company called Obscure Gems. He's an animal transport guy. He's independent. He does it with a small hybrid SUV vehicle. So the temperatures are maintained perfectly the whole time. Etc. Everything's good. He checks on the animals along the way, and so he really minimizes stress and everything. And it really sucks though. It happens sometimes though. Zach is their current curator. He's great with reptiles too. The whole place is great. Yeah, I really can't wait. We had one tagger, but he wasn't a breeding rattlesnake. He was just up front where people could see him. Yeah, awesome, awesome. Does it cost a lot to have them shipped because it's a snake? It's about $175 a snake. To have them shipped. Now that's just the shipping cost. Typically there might be a couple of dollars in the, like the container to box them up in and stuff, because typically you use those tubs that are the black tubs with the yellow lids or the red lids, and then they've got to be zip tied shut. Some states require permits to export and import, so it can be a little bit of a fiasco, but overall it's just pretty straightforward and pretty well about $175. Yeah, poaching is wrong. You're absolutely right. I don't, like I say, I don't fully agree with poaching. Not for financial gain. And again, like I said, I would never go out and collect animals just to fill up a warehouse or something. But, at some point, like example, the tiger, since we're talking about tiger rattlesnakes right now, there needs to be at least a male and female pair, or, something brought into captivity and a serious person working with them to reproduce them in captivity, to avoid future field collections. Because if, like, hypothetically, let's say that I ended up, I got a male and a female, and I produced babies of the tiger rattlesnake, now people will purchase the babies from me versus going out in the field and collecting them. Arizona has made some new laws, to my understanding, about not even being allowed to, export or take, any native species out of Arizona. They are considered Arizona property now, the way they did this. I mean, I could be wrong, but that's my understanding of it. Like the big thing that really bothers me, as well as those that are coming somewhere and collecting 100 animals to go sell in the pet trade for a profit. That's one that really bothers me. And another one that bothers me pretty bad is shit. I just lost my train of thought. I got distracted and I lost it. It'll come back to me in a second. Oh, the other thing that bothers me really bad is the rattlesnake roundups, where they would go out and catch thousands of timber rattle, or I'm sorry, western diamondback rattlesnakes, and just kill them for sport. What's up, I'm me? How are you? When I first moved out here, I sold some runes, felt really guilty about it, and decided, yeah, that's not the way I'm going to go. Yeah, I understand. And, technically the museum is in Rodeo, New Mexico. Okay, cool. But yeah, yeah, the same with the cacti. Yeah, I heard that too. Yeah. I mean, to selling, for financial gain, it's not where it's at. I agree. You know, I get people that come through the streams sometimes and say, you know, oh, that animal belongs out in the wild, not in an enclosure in your house, you know. And I partially agree with that. Now, all the animals I have, and well, I'm wrong. I do have two wild caught animals in my collection. I have a wild caught Naja guineensis, which is a black forest cobra, and I have a wild caught West African green mamba in my collection. They were imported from Africa, not by me. They was imported by somebody else, and nobody wanted to buy these animals, and they were super skinny, very, very bad looking. So I purchased these animals from the guy, and I, you know, nursed them back to health, and, you know, they've been living fine since. But, you know, that's the only wild caught I have. And now the tiger rattlesnakes that I had just bought that passed away, they was obviously wild caught. You know, the guy that I got them from was told they were captive produced, but I knew better because nobody produces them in captivity. Yeah, the rock rattlesnakes are super protected now. If you're even caught climbing on the rocks that are known to be, and you'll face fines. Yeah, that's good. I actually saw today, and you just reminded me of this. I'm going to pull it up and show you guys, actually. There's a website called Fauna Classifieds, and it's where venomous snakes are sold. And, hang on. It's where venomous snakes are sold online by people, you know, just individual people. Some people are familiar with it, some are not. But now that you mentioned the rock rattlesnakes, this time of the year down there, you know, it's still a little bit early, but around this time of the year, the rock rattlesnakes are going to start coming out of brumation. And it just so happens, where the hell, did I click the wrong one? But it just so happens that somebody already, and I don't know, he could have captively produced these animals, but the prices of them suggest otherwise, but I don't know. Right here, this ad I saw posted today, let me back the camera up. This ad I saw posted today of all these different rock rattlesnakes. And his price range is, you know, $200, you know, $350 for, you know, the Venomous mountains and stuff. They're pretty low prices for rock rattlesnakes, which suggests to me wild caught animals. The Massasauga rattlesnake. Yeah, you're seeing more beateds and less Gilas. Well, that's kind of strange, you know. Yeah, that's kind of strange. Now the Gilas, that's another one that people poach the heck out of, because I mean you can sell an adult Gila for, you know, $2,000 all day long. But, well, guys, I think I'm going to call it tonight. We're only going to do an hour and a half tonight instead of 2 hours. But I appreciate everybody for stopping in. And, yeah, Ralph, I really believe so. I really believe so. But I appreciate everybody stopping in, chatting with me, listening, you know, learning, hanging out. all that. We will definitely be on again tomorrow night at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time. So that should be 8:30 your time. The bits, yeah. I feel bad calling you bits because I feel like I'm saying bitch and I ain't trying to. But anyway, I appreciate you hanging out and chatting with me, and I hope I see you again tomorrow night or whenever you've got time at least. It's nice to meet somebody that has some more knowledge about some reptiles and stuff too, and engage with us. Thank you for the donation very much. Everybody, thank you very much for the gifts, the likes, your time in general. Thank you, thank you. My man woke up early, now waiting for his breakfast. But yeah, so tomorrow we'll put on another stream. Yeah, good night, Paisley. But we will be putting on another stream. We will do a little bit of feeding tomorrow night. So we will see you then. I will run out tomorrow and pick up a few rodents. We're going to be feeding a lot of smaller, rattlesnakes and stuff tomorrow. Maybe a couple monocles or something. But we'll definitely make sure that we make it a little entertaining for everyone. All right, bye-bye, Paisley. Thanks, Ralph. Good night, Jay. Thank you, buddy. Tom and Sue. And I know they are well raised and taken care of. Absolutely. All right, guys. Have a good night. I will see everybody again tomorrow evening. Hey, Bits, it will be, I think it's 8:30 p.m. your time when I start my stream. But anyway, just turn on your notification. You'll get it when I start. Yeah. I mean, I guess if you were downright hurting and absolutely needed the money, maybe you could do one of them or something. But I don't like it. I would strongly advise against it. You can easily go out there. You live in that area to where you can easily go out there and take some photos and hang out with them and stuff, and let them go back to their own, their own environment. So there's no real reason to do so, But good night, everybody.